Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this show anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. That community was put together specifically for our coaches, consultants, and our service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. Now, today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Remonia Pinder. Welcome, Remonia.
Thank you so much, Extus, for
Awesome.
having me.
You're welcome. And we're just chatting. You said you're in the Bahamas, right?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. NASA.
Nassau, yes.
Beautiful. So tell us, what is it that you do?
Well, I'm a transition coach for widows, and I help them move on from grief into living a fulfilled life.
Hmm.
That,
Okay. Yeah. Now, what got you into doing this type of work?
well, in 2014, my husband and I had planned to move to the island, to Long Island, retire after my daughter graduated college. And the market there is small, and I was figuring out what I'm gonna do in terms of keeping myself busy. And it's like I didn't want to sell anything because, like I said, the market was small. So I went on the computer online, and I put in online work with just the telephone, and what can I do? And so I was just browsing. I did a couple of weeks, and I came across coaching. And I'm like, okay, so let's check this out.
Hmm.
And it was Coach Training Alliance, and they were like, they having a free session as to if you're good, if you have the gift for coaching. So I took the exam, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. I'm gonna try it. So I tried. It's a 6 month course, and I didn't know anything about coaching, but it felt right. So I signed up, and it was 4 months into the coaching, and we are still planning on moving. And my husband was diagnosed with lung cancer, and so I couldn't deal with the coaching anymore in terms of finishing classes and everything. And so 2 months later, he passed away, and I was my life changed, and so all our plans went away, and I had to keep my job and continue on. And so moving forward 4 years later, I was like, I need something to do. And at the time when I told my mentor what was happening, she was like, "Okay, we'll keep you open. You will keep your name on the books because I already paid. And whenever you're ready to sign up again, um, come on board." So, and 4 years later, I'm like, "Okay, let's see how this is going to work out." So I signed up again. And at the time, when I first started, I wanted to do career coaching because I was a professional. I figured that fitted and that would work. And then when I signed up the second time around, my mentor was like, "You need a niche to narrow it down as narrow as possible." And what I knew about was being a widow and how it was for me. And so okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a life coach for widows. And so that's how I became a transition coach, life coach for widows.
Hmm. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but I guess with life is one of those things where it's like doesn't matter how much you either plan or you think it's gonna work out the way you think. Typically, it always throws this
Yeah.
curveball at us, right?
Yes, definitely.
Hmm.
Learn how to pivot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely an important skill. So in
Yeah.
essence, so the individuals, where does someone need to be at in their life for them to realize they need your services?
Beyond, not like past grief, but not yet to that stage where you are to where you want to live a full life. Grief never leaves you. It's with you all the time. But you make a decision that there's got to be more to it than this. I want to do this. I want to do that. And sometimes, like, you don't know how. And because there's so many feelings and the indecisions, like you there's fear and what how it's going to work out or what you're going to do. And so I walk them through that.
Hmm. Okay, so the place where they are in their life or something
They're
maybe good.
yeah, the life after. It depends because some people could deal with grief quicker than others. It depends on where they're at. So I meet them where they're at in terms of what they want to do going forward.
Hmm. Okay, so you don't have any type of set game plan for them going forward. It's just based on you help them discover that thing that they want,
Yeah,
right?
it depends. Like if the where they're at, because I meet them where they're at. Because sometimes people take years to recover, and then some women take just a few years or whatever, because they have this drive, they want to do something, and I help them sort out what they want to do.
Hmm. Okay, awesome. So Inez, what do you love about what you do?
I helping, helping, and just seeing that the smiles and the feeling of even though we had a traumatic experience and even though we were ripped from our partners in whatever way it was, it's that feeling of there's still life. That's a chapter that closed in our life, and this is a new chapter for us, and this joy still to be had in this life until we, pass away. So it's that feeling of sort of like there's another chapter to our life. There's another part of us that need to live. And that gives me a good feeling of just helping someone to know that they can still smile again, they can still love again, even and that's just part. They never forget their past, but moving forward into a good future makes me feel good.
Yeah, awesome. Now, what about your business wise? What's that vision that you hold for the business that you're growing here?
I my intent is to retire from my current job and go into coaching full time.
Hmm.
I could spend a lot of because coaching part time can be um, tedious in terms of because you work full week and then there's so many other things to do. And so, but I want to do that. I want to retire and then retire from my current job. I'm a payroll officer right now, and I want to retire from that and just go into doing coaching full time.
Hmm. Okay. What
So
about yeah, what about your the clients that you typically work with? What challenges do they typically face and how do you help them overcome those challenges?
the loneliness is one of them. um, because you can be in a lot of in a crowd of people, but you still feel lonely. So it's you want to move on with life, and you want to live and you want to enjoy life, but sometimes you feel sad at living. You feel like um, my husband passed away and my all my children are grown up and I'm just alone, and you feel guilty at wanting to enjoy life. And so I talk them and we go through the path of where they are at the moment. And then we talk about what gives them joy. What do they like to do? Do they like to paint? Do they like to dance? Do they like to volunteer? Do they like to do stuff like that will bring them joy? And we walk through that.
Hmm. Awesome. So what about if we look at your life in general, like right based on where you are in your life and your business and the success you've created for yourself? What would you say is one skill that you've said you've mastered that's gotten you to where you are today?
Resilience,
Hmm.
just moving on and being resilient at what I do. It was so easy for me to not have done the coaching again. It would have been just, nah, I don't want to do it again. But
Hmm.
this thing inside of me was like, you could do this. This is what you're meant to do, so you could do it. So just moving forward, the slowness of it is just resilience for me.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so powerful as well. So I know for every entrepreneur, it's one of those places where those who have it, you again, you could persevere, you could get through it. But if you don't, it could becomes very the dreams that you have. That's really what they become, right? They just become dreams because again,
Right.
no one sticks with it, right? So yeah, that's good. That's good. What about habits wise? Are there any habits you believe that if individuals practice, they would be able to, whether it's create the success that they want in their life? What habit would you say that would be?
I think one of the habits that I think they could have is learning, continuous learning. I think that helps a lot because it exposes you to there's so much out there, there's so much to do, so much to learn. So I think I'm reading books, doing continuous learning. It helps broaden your mind. It helps you feel more able to communicate and associate with people. You meet new people. So
Hmm.
I think reading and learning and being a part of a group like your group and other Facebook groups, it's a good thing.
Hmm. Awesome, love it. So, are you a big? What about you yourself? When you, in essence of consumer information, are you more of a podcast person? Do you read books? What? How do you?
I read books. I I listen to podcasts, and actually I'm learning how to do podcasting myself right now.
Nice.
And yeah, I read books. I love reading books. I just love books.
Hmm.
And so for me, I could be alone the whole weekend with a couple of books, and I'm satisfied. So reading is very good. Reading is a habit that one needs to um, just do because it calms you. It puts you in a place where you're just in that moment. There's no
Hmm.
past and there's no future. You're right there. And another thing that I do is I dance. I do salsa dancing. So that's another thing that keeps you in the moment. There's no past and there's no future. It's just these small moments of joy, and you take advantage of those.
Hmm. Love it. What about some? So you said you are you gonna start your own podcast, or have you started your own podcast?
I haven't started yet. I
Hmm.
want to launch it at the end of this month,
Hmm.
hopefully.
Yeah. What's the theme? What's gonna be the theme for you?
Life transitions.
Hmm.
It's basically because I have a web page as well, so it's sort of like it's all part of that transitioning for women for widows.
Hmm. Okay, good. And what? How do you envision it? Are you going to be inviting guests on there, or is it going to be a solo podcast? How do you envision it?
Well, the plan is to do solo, go moving forward,
Hmm.
and then to invite guests, probably occasionally, and then to go fully with guests.
Hmm.
That's the plan.
Yeah,
That's the vision.
yeah. It sounds pretty exciting. I love it. Love it. Yeah. So, in terms of books wise, are there any books that kind of that stand out for you in terms of books that's really had a great impact on your life?
My first book was The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by
Stephen
Stephen
Covey.
Covey.
Love it.
Mhm. And also John Maxwell. I haven't read his books lately, but he had a huge impact on me as well. And I still listen to his podcast. And he was on Mondays at 12 o'clock doing his leadership in crisis. I listened to that. So he has been a big influence on my life as well.
Hmm. Now, what about lessons from those books? Are there any specific ones? Let's say the Seven Habits. Are there any specific lessons that really stand out for you?
Begin with the end in mind.
Hmm. Why that? Why that one?
Because sometimes I find before I sort of like, okay, I don't think about the end. I just, okay, I want to do this. But then when I'm halfway there, I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. So now when I make a decision, it's always what, okay, this is the end result. So I move backwards to the front. So I'm going to work towards that. And it makes things easier for me because if I just go and make a plan and I just don't keep the end in mind, I don't follow through. So I work from back for and to the front. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Make perfect sense because I definitely see that as it's a big challenge as well for most individuals, just because there's like so much information coming at us, right? So it's all of these have like what seems to be opportunities, all of these different things, and it's kind of one of those places where it's so exciting to say, okay, I want to start this thing, I want to start this thing, I want to start this thing, and forget that it's all going to take work, right? It's going to take some time, effort, energy, persistence, all these different things. So I believe that, yeah, definitely start with the end in mind. If you could train yourself to say, before you just jump into things just to say, oh, it's exciting or whatever, to
right,
think, how would this look long term? And then based on seeing that end result, seeing and making sure it's something that you want, then saying, okay, now let me figure out which of the few of these opportunities will actually get me to where I need to be, right?
right. Which is one of the things I liked about the continue with the coaching. It's like it's not a temporary thing for me. I'm moving to working towards doing it full time. So it's going to be a full time thing for me. It's like with the podcasting as well. So it's not like a temporary thing, like I could do something this weekend and it's done. But this is a long time thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's how I look at it.
Awesome. So let's say, based on where you are in your life right now, what's one lesson you like to share? Something that you've learned over your life that you'd say, okay, here's one thing. If anyone is listening to this right here, here's something I could I've experienced within my life, or here's something that's worked for me, or whatever. And here's something you could take away. What would you say that one thing would be?
Find something that you love to do. Find something like whether it's painting, whether it's pottery, whether it's drawing, whatever it is, dance. Find something that you enjoy, that brings you joy and makes you feel good. That's what happens with dancing with me. It made me feel good, and I love it.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, do you believe that most individuals they do stuff that that doesn't fulfill them?
I'm sorry.
Do you believe that most individuals, they do stuff that really doesn't fulfill them? They just do it just because maybe they got to pay the bills or whatever, but they never take the time to.
We are all are guilty of that. We're all like we're all propelled to make money to pay the bills, but we don't take time to take care of ourselves, like self-care, things that bring us joy, things that bring us peace. Sometimes we just go 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 go, and I mean we need to find a moment where we can just be still and just enjoy something, that there's no cares in the world. It's just this feeling of being content with oneself. And I think that we all deserve it. We just sometimes we just don't know how to do it, how to, because by taking care of ourselves or being involved in something, we tend to feel selfish, like especially if you have a family or whatever. I don't have got the time or whatever. If you do take the time, you feel selfish.
Hmm.
And so no, just find something that you love and go ahead, and it's yours, it's yours to enjoy. Sorry,
Hmm.
to enjoy.
I love
Makes
that.
sense? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
it makes perfect.
great for you.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Awesome. So in essence, let's say, so let's say who's that ideal person for you, right? Let's say someone is listening in. How do they know that it's time to reach out to you?
My ideal, well, widowhood does not discriminate. You have young widows, you have middle-aged widows, and my mom became a widow at 88. So it's, I can't really say that it's age related of anything. It's just feelings, like how you feel and where you at in your life, what you want in your life. Because a widow at 25 with young kids is a different mindset than a widow who's middle age, whose kids have grown up and gone away. And so the mindset is different. So
Hmm.
you want to meet them where they're at that moment.
Hmm. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Now, what's the best way if someone wanted to reach out? What's the best way for them to connect?
Through my website, www.seasonsofchange.com. I have a Facebook page, Remonia Pinder, Transition Life Coach, and I have email, the seasons of change 1 at gmail.com.
Hmm. Awesome, Remonia. Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing. And guys, if you're listening in, whether it's on the live or the replay, all the links Remonia just shared here, they'll be right either above or below this video. So you could click right there and connect right to her. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be
Thank
here
you too.
today.
Oh my, you're amazing.
Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
Oh, I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and just take care of yourself and take care of your families.
Awesome. Love it. Well, hey, thank you again. And we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.